Hello, good evening. My name is Franz. I'm gonna do this video in English. And why am I gonna do this video in English? A lot of people are thinking right now. Well, why are you doing a video überhaupt? Which means like, why are you making a video at all? You wanna put your face online? You wanna, no. What I wanna do with this video, I wanna share like a little bit of my story. About my story, why I am the guy who I am right now, and also what I believe right now. I'm doing this video in English and I've been thinking about it because a lot of like Dutch people, European people are making videos in English. Of course, because like our country, you know, like is very influenced by the English language, and we are a small country, so we have to adapt to other countries. But there's another thing. I want this video to have like the highest reach. So like if my friends from America or Greece or whatever, wherever they're from, if they are watching this video, they can comprehend it, they can understand it. And this is what's the goal, that you can understand what I'm saying right now, or I have to make subtitles, but it's a... First of all, I want to start off with what do the Apostle Paul, Josh McDowell, and myself have in common? What do we have in common? We all became Christians. We became followers of Jesus Christ, but we didn't want to become followers of Jesus. Let me start out with the Apostle Paul. First, let's start with the Apostle Paul, Paulus, or he was first called Saul or Saulus. This man was a religious Jew, and he was prosecuting Christians. What? He was prosecuting Christians. He later became the Apostle Paul, the Apostle Paulus, but he was prosecuting Christians. And the Bible tells us this. And even Paulus is testifying about what he has done in his life. So this man didn't want to become a Christian. He was actually prosecuting Christians. And if we go to Acts 9, verse 3 and 4, and I'm going to read this with you. And while he was on his way to Damascus, it happened. And suddenly there was a huge light from the heavens. And when he fell on the ground, he heard a voice that said to him, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? And he said, Who are you, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, the one you are prosecuting. While he was going after the followers of Jesus, Jesus was already prosecuted. He died on the cross. But later on he raised from the dead. And he walked on the planet again. But like Saulus didn't see Jesus. This is the first time Saulus sees Jesus. And he hears this voice. He falls on the ground. And he hear him say, Saul, Saul, why are you prosecuting me? Why are you prosecuting me? But he wasn't really prosecuting Jesus. He was prosecuting the followers of Jesus. But Jesus just appeared there from the heavens and said to him, why are you prosecuting me? And then Saulus didn't know who he was in the beginning, so like he first said, who are you, Lord? And the Lord said, I am Jesus, the one you are prosecuting. Why am I starting out with this? Because this was one of the first guys, is maybe one of the most important like apostle we know nowadays, who didn't want to become a Christian. Now let's step over to Josh McDowell. Okay, Josh McDowell, this guy, this is also so amazing. Josh McDowell, when he was 20, he lived on a university in the States. And Josh McDowell, he was not raised as a Christian. He heard about Christianity, and he heard a lot about the university, about Christianity, and he met some Christians and whatever, and he really didn't like it. You know, he didn't like the Christians, you know, like they were always speaking about the Bible, speaking about Jesus. There's only one way, God, and they always seem so happy with their fake smiles and blah blah blah. Josh McDowell didn't like Christians. He felt like he wanted to break down Christianity. He wanted to write a bestseller, and he wanted to make it. He had actually a plan to become a senator in the States. But before he could make his plan to become a senator, he wanted to write this bestseller. So he said to his Christian professors, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to break down Christianity. Well, his professor said, okay, like, good for you, but it's kind of like a big topic. Why don't you just focus on the resurrection? If you can break down the resurrection, then the whole house of Christianity will break down as a house of cards. If the resurrection is not true, if you can prove that the resurrection didn't happen and that Jesus didn't rise from the dead, then you have a bestseller. So why don't you focus on that? So Josh McDowell did. He went to Europe. He went to all the universities. He read all the scrolls. He went to all the libraries and everything. And then, something happened that he didn't expect it. While he was reading in one of those libraries of the university in, if I'm not mistaken, it was London, or he found out that the resurrection was true. And he was shocked. And he became a Christian. He became a Christian because of that. Okay, so we have the Apostle Paul. We have the most famous apostle of Christianity, who didn't want to become a Christian. He was prosecuting them. And I just told you about Josh McDowell, who didn't want to become a Christian. Actually, he wanted to break down Christianity. And then you come to my person, this Dutch guy from Friesland, 33 years old, raised and born without religion, without Christianity, like in a typically modernistic kind of way, humanistic kind of way. I was raised. And I didn't want to become a Christian either. I was cursing the most of anybody on the football fields. I was cursing God, when I didn't make a shot or whatever, or I didn't make a goal, or something happened and I didn't like, I cursed. I thought Christians, and also like people from other religions, were people who weren't really looking for the truth. They weren't really using their brain. They were indoctrinated. They were in a cult. They were being frightened by the fear of hell, for example. I didn't take these people serious, their faith, God, there's a God, and Jesus who died on the cross. I really didn't believe this, and I really thought that this faith was really something like I didn't want to be. I didn't want to get to know or something, I wanted to stay far away from these people. And here I am. I'm a follower of Jesus Christ right now. I've been baptized. I read the Bible. I follow Jesus. And why am I following Jesus? First of all, why do I believe in God? When I was 25 years old, I experienced the darkest night of my life. I didn't want to live anymore. I was somebody, I was a fighter, but I didn't want to live anymore. I was looking at life. I was looking the way how we human beings are living, and I had so many questions, and I saw so much injustice and so many things I didn't like in this world. And well, basically, I came to a point that I was 25, and I was working in the film industry and as an actor, and I didn't want to live anymore, and I wanted to die. Really, the thought came in my mind that I didn't want to live anymore. And I remember this really well. I was in Amsterdam at the Singel. This is one of the most famous canals, and I lived there. And I broke down. I broke down. And I started to pray. I started to pray. I didn't even believe in God, but I started to pray. And I said, God, please help me. I cannot do it anymore by myself. I cannot do it anymore. I need love and friendship and joy. Please help me. I cannot do it anymore by myself. And this prayer, I don't know where it came from. People ask me, why did you start to pray? You know, you didn't even believe in God. You were not raised like this. Why did you start to pray? And you know, like, I don't have the answer, but there are two options. The first option is when we people are in the end of our options, you know, like there's this cliff. You know, there's this cliff. We don't know anymore. We see death, and out of like this disparity, we're starting to pray. We're starting looking for God. You know, this is one answer. The second answer is more Christian. It's like the God Himself, help me to pray. Help me to do this prayer through the Holy Spirit. And either way, I started to pray, and nothing happened. I fell asleep, and the next morning I woke up and I noticed something was different. I felt better. All the depression, all the, you know, like everything was so black in my life, but it was gone. I didn't felt the blackness anymore, and I went outside and I was like, whoa, what's going on? And I was being led, you know, I was being led after I walked outside the door to places where there was love, you know, people laughing and a baby in the arms of a mother and a couple who were in love, and I felt good, and I was like, whoa, what's happening here? Am I starting to believe in God? Because it was me who was so depressed, and I prayed to God and I said, please God, help me. Please God, help me. I cannot do it anymore by myself. And now I feel much better. What's going on here? So I was kind of confused, but at the same time, I was like, okay, I prayed this prayer, which I never do. I feel better. So maybe God is really true. Maybe he is true. Maybe there is a God. And this is how my journey started. Because from that day, I started to pray to God. I started to thank Him for every day. And I remember one of the first prayers after that night was, Lord, I need a strong faith. Please make my faith just as big as an oak tree. So when it's gonna storm, I will not fall down. I will not break down. I need strong roots in the ground, and I will not break down. This is what I prayed. And I was also thinking practically, about all the people, I knew who were not religious, who didn't believe in God, and I didn't want to, be the laughing stock of the neighborhood, I didn't want people to say oh, Frans believes in God, well, he's ridiculous. And I didn't want to be blown away. I needed a strong faith. I needed a strong faith. And this is what I prayed. And we're almost 8 years further, and I can say to you, honestly, God was loyal again. It happened. I have a very strong faith now. Thank you, Lord. And it's been quite a journey right now, and I'm making this video to testify about what happened in my life. Because 5 years later, after my first prayer, I found out that the resurrection was true. The resurrection of Jesus Christ was true. And then I became a Christian. Then I became a follower of Jesus. But in these 5 years, I didn't want to become a Christian. I believed in God, and I was just leave me alone. I don't want any to do with any Bible or churches or religion, whatever. I'm going to do my own thing. I will not be in any discussion. I don't want to become a Christian. I don't want to have no sex in front of marriage. I don't want to hate gay people. I don't want to, I had all these prejudice thoughts about Christianity. I don't want to go to a sect. I don't want to go to the Catholic Church or whatever, I don't believe this or that. I don't want to go to, I don't want to read the Bible or whatever, So I wanted to stay away from books like this. I wanted to stay away from this. But in the end, I became a follower of Jesus. And ironically, if we look at these three people, if you look at the Apostle Paul, if you look at Josh McDowell, if you look at my person, humbly, you know, like we all didn't want to become Christians, and look at us now. You know, look how our lives ended up. We became followers of Jesus. And you see, God is also using people to influence other people, and God uses people who you know, people would never expect them to become Christians. You know, my friends never expected me to become like this. I mean, if my friends hear that I'm not having sex anymore and that I'm waiting for my wife, they fall, you know, they fall from the chair, because they knew how I was. They knew what kind of man I was, how I was walking in the world, how I was with women, you know, like they know. And so like God is using people also to bring testimony to them, to him, you know, like so people can see like the strength and the might and the glory of God in these lives of these people. And for example, you know, like Ferrico Tadini is like another example. He was a criminal, he was a heroin dealer, and right now he's a follower of Jesus. Everybody knows Todd White. He was a crack junkie, and now he's a follower of Jesus, and he's going all over the world, you know. So God uses these lives of these people to testify, to show who he is, to make even like a bigger impression. And well, this is like the end of my video for now. I want to thank you for watching, and God bless you all. And if you have any questions, you can always ask me, and you can always ask me for prayer. Good night.